Good day, my fellow Americans. My name is Cassandra Rosa, and this is my humble proposition for your consideration. What follows are my prepared remarks in appeal to your humanity. I thank you in advance for your valued time, attention, and patience. How can the people who love freedom trust one person to lead them? Such a leader must guide the destiny of America and the people to a daily renewed victory of legitimacy of its institutions, the liberty of the people those institutions serve to govern, and loyalty to the American promise. The American promise is commonly understood to be equality, justice, liberty, and faith in a government by the people, for the people, of the people. A government that serves all the people under the highest order of the universe, a God indivisible, so that nothing can divide our sacred union. The promise of a nation is reflected in the actions to govern with purpose and principle, instilling faith in the institutions that make it so that America, the land of the free, is kept free, and ennobled by the people for generations. This model of faith in a promise and in the institutions that make that promise a reality is what makes America an enduring nation, continuously worth defending through and through. I appeal to your humanity, a humble request, to lead the United States of America, to fulfill its promise, and renew the American spirit with an American identity that reflects the hope of our founding fathers, as well as the hope for future generations to come. It is not that I should become the leader about an America of such hope and promise, or that I might become an inspirational leader of a truly free world, but it is that I must. I humbly offer my talents in service, being not from the political or corporate realm, rather just a citizen with such love for country and humanity, with an indefatigable spark of conviction to strive for something more amazing than any other prospective leader has the vision, ambition, or want to achieve. Now I envision myself a leader with potential, who has within all that is necessary to defy expectations in bewildering circumstances, and the creative capacity to establish the meaning, the means, the motive, and the modes, to carry out plans that can bring about outcomes that are more fantastic than anything we can so far imagine in the current landscape and under the current leadership. American leaders in government and capitalism thus far are so caught up with contemplating endlessly political games that they hardly have any time or energy remaining in their capacity to provide for the promise of our union. Ironically, that union is the very thing that gives them legitimacy to make political decisions and to establish economic offerings, which shape how we govern and nurture the prosperous growth of our nation. To leave our union be as it is for want not to have to address the challenge to make it as excellent as it could be, just because it seems too great of an undertaking, is exactly why their way of leadership has not made America great or better or even just pretty good. It is disappointing that the truth is we as a nation can no longer afford to ignore. Now, I have been long preparing myself for a position to play the long game in uniting the country to the cause of stewarding a better world. And I see the opportunity has arrived, so I'm here to step up and take the reins of immediate action to steer America to produce achievable outcomes, so that together we may propagate a free world, a paradigm for all to come in and participate and contribute in a collective stewardship. The landscape of possibilities is changing fast, and so is the spirit of the nation. In every corner of conversation, activism, and development, there's a sort of infectious rebellion that I want to harness into a force of revolution to fight against the compulsions of convention and the unrelenting authority of the status quo and the complacency of habit, so as to create a world with degrees of separation of powers that secures the blessings of freedom against any existing or would-be corrosive oppressions and the tyrannies of despotism. This is a tall order for anyone to succeed at fulfilling. I know that I can't, but we can. This is why I believe a leader with the best intentions for America and the free world at heart would petition the free world to grant another separation of power within America's Constitution by an amendment which creates a fourth branch of government, civics, the people of independence. This branch consists of every American citizen and represents the powers of direct democracy. True democracies are generally agreed to be based on 4 principles: a belief in the rule of law, legislative; a belief in the rule of law, executive; a belief in the rule of law, judicial; and a belief in the rule of law and the power of the people, civics. Reflected within each of these principles are the beliefs that come with them. A belief in the individual, since the individual is believed to be both moral and rational. Now, representational government can be ethical, but it cannot be moral and remain neutral. A belief in reason and progress based on beliefs that change. Growth and development is the natural condition of mankind, and politics is the art of compromise to achieve consensus and navigating those conditions. We will compromise on some of our wants to provide for our mutual needs. A belief in society that is consensual, based on a desire for order and cooperation, by willing submission, not disorder and conflict with the need to use force to achieve compliance or enforce consequence. A belief in shared power, based on natural suspicion of concentrated power, whether by individuals, groups, or governments. Power that is shared is protecting us from corruption and provides for our rights to be preserved. Now, there's 4 critical elements of effective government framework: legitimacy, justice, which is what is good, fair, reasonable, right, freedom, and shared power. I believe in a society in which citizens are sovereign and they control the government, where the rule by the people implies popular participation in government, people working in the public interest. Now, I understand voting to be an institutional arrangement for arriving at political decisions, and elections to be the way in which individuals acquire the power to decide by means of competitive struggle for the people's vote. Now, I have want to lead the nation, but no desire to play political games of fighting for candidacy by positioning a campaign of platitudes as close to the public eye as is necessary to convince them that you are the only one to carry out their will. It seems an utter waste to spend campaign dollars on a popularity contest. I don't think that a popularity contest between those who can rally the masses behind their particular genre of charisma has the directive to promote the candidate's stance on where they will determine just governance and what exactly are the actual proposals they intend to put into effect when they are elected into office. I think that the point is simply summed up by this quote: The purpose of a democratic method is not to select representatives who carry out the will of the people, but to choose individuals that will govern on their behalf. Thus, we need power vested in the people so that they can carry out their will. But how is it possible for the people to rule in a largely differentiated society if they have no position in the government? The next logical question is, who will lead the people to claim their own power to govern? Now, my life and my historical path is nothing to model traditional success upon. The instilled values I have inherited over the course of my unconventional life hold no consequential utility or materiality, and it carries no weight by American standards. Like many Americans, the idea of American progress revealed itself to me as an elusive, ever-moving target trapped in linear time, and we are always having to play catch-up to reach the prize. This American dream, by its nature, is more like a delusion. The only way to progress with it is to transcend the linear by wielding power over the nature of our present circumstances. Now, this linear construct makes sense of our past and present failings, but does little to empower all people to succeed because not everyone has the same circumstances and opportunities to transcend. Even still, many Americans, including myself, have made do with their lot in life and have succeeded at contentment with the things we cannot ourselves change or forces that may be working in the realm of possibility that we cannot account for. Some of us have risen from humble beginnings into pinnacles of success. Others have fallen short repeatedly, yet still maintain the struggle. Others still have sunken ever lower and have been left to the wayside while the world passes them by. Now, I have spent my life in pursuit of an understanding of what I know to be the human element. It exists within the world paradigm and is governed by universal forces and the fundamental principles of physics. What I have discovered, invariably and evidensibly, is that if you change a person's environment, you change that person's circumstances, and that changes their behaviors, and that changes their habits. And then from that comes changes in their in-striving goals and achievements. Ultimately, it changes the trajectory of their lives, transcending the linear, actualizing a way of making for themselves a future that is a success. What I mean to say is that given the chance at leading this country, I will have the right conditions to succeed in that where I have not succeeded before. And in doing that, I can help make way for others to succeed in transcending in their own ways too. Now, I can relate to where we are as a nation of social, economic, and power class structures. I understand how that forms where we're going and where we're going to end up if we stay on this current trajectory. And I have shared in America's hardships and the inconveniences that is something that makes me uniquely prepared to take a hands-on approach to make the future better than it is today, making American progress an accessible reality that everyone can align with to succeed. Now, there is a saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. If this is true, then what can be said about me is that I follow through on commitments. I practice patience, I am prudent, I practice thrift, and comfortable conservation. I help others even at my own expense. I learn from every outcome. I deeply care about everyone and the planet. I am always looking for ways to improve myself, the world, and to lessen the struggle of others. I love to champion for the success of others and remind them how they make me proud of their accomplishments too. I believe kindness is a currency that gives back tenfold. So I am kind, courteous, and polite, yet I do have my limits. I don't believe in hate, but I do practice righteous anger. I believe in redemption and that everyone is at the core a good human being, and given the right circumstances, everyone can succeed at good humanity. Though Everyone is weak in temptation, and if not disciplined, can be led astray into doing the wrong thing, to which they must face the consequences of. Now, I believe all conflict and prejudice is predicated on misunderstandings, and I believe that dialogue and diplomacy have all that is necessary to bring about a peaceful world. I am optimistic about peace, but not naive regarding conflict. I know that armed neutrality, preventative measures, and intentional security leads none into temptation to do wrong, and readiness to defend on all fronts is always necessary to secure peace. Now, I believe in the value of manual labor and community service. I do not believe anyone should shy away from messy or difficult but necessary work, because it keeps us humble and respectful of every station that a society requires to function and thrive. I believe in the character building and world-changing power of giving your talents in service to a better world, because it pays it forward so the benefit comes back to you and is shared among others. And that is something that is an honorable achievement. It's something that we can take pride in, and that's something that is accessible to anyone. And society should better recognize it as a really credible prestige. Now, I know that caregiving and stewardship is so important that it should be the pride of a nation how it honors and rewards caregivers and stewards. This includes parents and guardians, child care providers, senior care, veteran care, teachers, medical professionals, public safety, first responders, disaster responders, and the like. Also, the stewards of society, humanity, and caretakers of the past and the present history, our present and future civilization, and the artisanal aspects of our culture, and especially those who care for the many manifestations of life on this living planet. Now, I believe good citizenship makes our homeland a place worth defending and involving with. I know that good citizenship begins with and depends on a nurturing domestic home. It is because I offer something better than Biden in the ways that matter to Democrats, and I offer something better than Trump in the ways that matter to Republicans, that I believe I will make way for a memorable, meaningful, actionable presidency. I can't, but we can. With the help of all Americans, we can be in service together for creating and living out loud the American identity that we can all be proud of. Thank you.